Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next.
Now what's going on, everyone? As we're starting it off a little rocky, but it's the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Richard Holdridge. After a fantastic Masters weekend, NBA is now under wraps, and now we actually do know who the playoff seedings are, except for the play-in games. We're still figuring out who's 7 and 8, but majority of the rest of the playoffs, we already know the format. So we'll talk about that. But first things first, Big Rich, what's going on?
What is going on? What an incredible finish to the Masters. And everything else has been going on in the world of sports.
Hey, everything else has been gravy, right? We've got a lot we're going to be getting into, man. We're presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet, GMC, Buffalo Rock, Pepsi, Gordy Eye Care, and Kinetic Credit Union. We will talk about where we're going to be this week. We got the baseball rankings. Do we have soccer, Richard?
Yes, we do. We got the soccer rankings.
We will have soccer rankings up as well, because guess what? Some teams are already starting the playoffs this week. That includes the Glenwood Gators. Central starts the week after, but Alabama regular season is done. For the GHSA schools, they're done this week. And for the GIAA schools, they're done the week of May the 3rd. So we'll talk about baseball rankings, who we feel like is going to win a championship this year, who's coming on strong. We'll talk soccer. Richard, I know that's your forte. We'll let you get into that. You had an incredible game last week, which I know you'll get into during those rankings with Shaw and Jordan. It was part of our top 10 plays. By the way, if you want to see our top 10 plays, all you have to do is go look on Instagram. I will drop them later on Facebook later on this week. So thank you to Riley Bamberger for putting those together. So if you want to see it, go to Georgia Alabama Sports Live on Instagram, and you can see the top 10 plays of last week. And Richard, I heard a few of your calls. I had the #1, which was a huge 2-run double by Brody Johnson in that game 1 of Harris County Northside. That was a phenomenal series. Richard, you did game 3. We'll talk about that in just a moment. We're also going to get into the Masters reaction. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy. We'll also talk NBA playoffs, who we think's the best teams, how do we feel like it's going to play out, who's our MVP now that the season is done. And I'm going to also recap where I was at this past weekend, thanks to Sports Vision's 92.1 FM. Clingstones won. We'll get into that just a little bit too. But I can't wait for tomorrow morning, Richard, because DJ was in Athens. I was in Auburn covering A-Day and G-Day, but they were glorified practices. What did we learn? And I also was able to cover Auburn LSU baseball. And if those who don't know, Richard, the SEC has 7 top 10 teams. 6 of the top 7 are in the SEC. So I want to get in a little bit too. So it's late night edition. Pretend I'm David Letterman. Richard, you can be Colbert, or do you want to be Johnny Carson? Actually, I don't think no one can be Johnny Carson. If I'm going to be Letterman, you got to be Jay Leno.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, Jay Leno is more relevant. I used to watch him when I was a kid. Didn't really watch. I was really young when Johnny Carson was on the air.
Richard, I wasn't even born yet when he finally went off the air. I'll tell you that. All right. We are presented by all our sponsors. Thank you so much. Make sure to listen to Sports Vision tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Let's recap where we were last week, Rich. Some of the key games. Glenwood won senior night. They swept Beulah, their area champs in their first year in the AHSA. So congratulations to the Glenwood Gators in their first season. They go in as one of the top 3 seeds in the playoff brackets. Already came out, Richard, and they're going to be hosting a first-round playoff. We will not be able to broadcast it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, unfortunately, but we will be broadcasting for the NFHS. Unfortunately, in Alabama, they're not like Georgia where you pay a fee and get to broadcast the playoff game. They are restricted. It is literally NFHS or no one can watch. So we're going to help out people. They can watch on the NFHS, and we'll give recaps and have live interviews there. But, Richard, that was a lot of fun being able to see them pick up a huge win, Richard. And then you also did some big-time games as well, including Northside Harris County. And how about those County Tigers winning 2 of 3 against Northside?
Yeah, 2 of 3. They were going for the sweep on Friday, but Northside salvaged a game that they desperately needed because you got a 4-team race in that region with Harris County playing Stars Mill next week and Northside playing Central of Carrollton. It's anybody's region. And you got Central Carrollton that's 11-4. Stars Mill is 13-2. So that's the top and the bottom teams. And right there in the middle, Harris County and Northside. And it was a very good win for Northside. And what can you say about Reese Adams having a complete game win? And
complete game.
It was a game that they desperately needed because Harris County ended up taking the first 2.
Yeah, and if you look, I know Rick Beach of Kudzu Sports and Georgia Alabama Sports Live put it out there. Stars Mills ranked number 1, and they're 13-2 in the seedings. Harris County's 12-3, Northside 12-3, and then Central of Carroll is in 4th place right now. But guess what? Stars Mill takes on Harris County, and Central of Carroll takes on Northside. So we're going to have those games, or we're going to try to at least have those games on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Probably going to be tough. We may not be getting Northside we have a lot on the slate this week, Richard, and they actually have a home game. I think it's on Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, and we just have a lot going on that day, so it will be tough. Other news and notes from last week, Richard, that we were able to cover. Stratford got a big win. Pacelli got a big win over Stratford. How about Shaw taking down Jordan? They're in 2nd place behind Columbus High and soccer. Columbus High beat Jordan and Shaw last week to pretty much clinch the region, and they're going to be number 1 team heading in there. But Shaw, Jordan, and Hardaway, I all think can make the playoffs this year, Richard. And maybe Jeff Battlesinks, maybe even a Spencer, a Kendrick, a Carver. They could maybe slip in too, but we know for a fact those 4 teams should be in. Calvary got 2 big wins, Richard, after having a bad week last week and losing 4 to really good teams across the country. They were in a top-notch national tournament with Steve Smith, but they picked up a big win. We got the Russell County one. So big win for them, and that's pretty much it from what we had everywhere locally. Anything else you want to talk about, Richard, before we move on?
Yeah, it was a pretty slow week for baseball. We also did the Carver-Spencer baseball game where Carver and Spencer split the 2 games, and that's the team that Jeff Battles thinks that could sneak into the playoffs is Spencer, as they were able to get a win over Carver 17-2, and there's still a week left. They play Columbus. They ended up facing Kendrick. They've picked up some pretty big wins, especially over Carver and Kendrick, and I just think with the baseball season wrapping up, with the new format, we might end up getting 5 teams in the playoffs.
I think we will, Richard, and we'll be cheering them all on. This is, again, the last week of the regular season for the GHSA schools. So all of the Muscogee County schools and Harris County will be done with the regular season after this week. For Pacelli, Calvary, and Brookstone, their seasons don't end until May the 3rd, and they start their playoffs a week after that. So And then Glenwood, Central, Smith Station, Russell County, their seasons are done now. They have no more games left, and they are moving on. Do we know if Russell County, are they in
Yeah, so Russell County, I know the only 2 teams get in. They went 3-4 in the region, 10-6 overall. They finished in 3rd place behind
so they're
Pike
out.
Road and Rehoboth. So their season's over.
Danny Danielson, Michael Long, they'll have a team, I promise you, next year that will be vying for one of those spots in the playoffs, Richard. I fully expect that. I think they got a great guy at the helm. But again, congratulations on all the hard work for all the teams. Smith Station's out. Central still in. Glenwood still in for the teams in Alabama. GHSA wraps up this week. We expect Northside, Harris County, Columbus, Shaw, Jordan, and Hardaway. 6 local schools public sector of the GHSA we expect, baseball-wise, to make the playoffs. And then we also expect, and we'll talk about that in the rankings here in just a moment, and then we'll talk about the GIAA here too, which Brookstone's ranked number 2 in the latest GIAA rankings. Last thing I want to talk about before we take a break, Richard, and come back with the rankings is softball. Central and Glenwood softball, cheering them both on. Russell County as well. They have their area tournament. So, Richard, unlike in years past or in other sports, you could have a terrible regular season and win the area tournament or finish as a top 2 seed and make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So Glenwood, who's had their ups and downs this year under Coach Josh McConnell, if they get hot in the area tournament, which can happen, Rich, they're in the playoffs. So I'll be cheering for them. We'll be cheering on Central, who's a defending state champion. And we'll also be cheering on Russell County, Smith Station, and any of the other teams that are still playing right now.
Yeah, I can't wait. Softball in Alabama is done in the spring compared to softball in the fall for Georgia. So it's nice just to have a mixture and all these teams. I wish them the best of luck in the area tournament.
All right, Rich, let's take a break. When we come back from break, we'll talk about those baseball rankings, soccer update. Who do we think is going to make a playoff run? Richard will give you that information and more. Do not go anywhere. You're going to want to see these rankings. The Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.
You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, my name is Griff Gordy, and here at Gordy Eye Care, we have been serving the Bi-City community for 17 years. As a former state championship quarterback, I love the fact that I can watch local high school athletics from the comfort of my own home. So it was a no-brainer to support Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for young athletes in our area.
And without business like yourself, Gordy Eye Care, none of our coverage would be possible. To be able to cover these 16 different high schools, the local colleges, and professional teams. So we'd like to say thank you to you, Dr. Griff Gordy and Gordy Eye Care, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you can make an appointment today at Gordy Eye Care with the number 334-291-5125. Keep supporting Gordy Eye Care and keep watching Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Get ready to smile because it's Truck Month at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Take your pick of over 40 brand new Chevrolet Silverados, discounted up to $14,000 off while they last. New Chevy Equinox, the compact SUV featuring high-tech options, discounted up to $5,000 off. Enjoy no payments until summertime. Choose from over 500 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way. GlennSmith.com. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back here. Richard should be smiling, and I know I am. It's the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this late night Sunday edition. And let's go ahead and get into it. It's time for the rankings. So, baseball first. As of April the 13th, here are our rankings. Number 1, actually, let's start at the bottom. Number 10 is the Jordan Red Jackets. Jordan, listen. Heading into last week, they had a chance to actually be the number 1 team in the region, Richard. Didn't have a great showing. Shaw, who has beat them, they also beat Hardaway this year, so that's why Hardaway's not in the top 10. But Jordan, great season for Coach Lang. They're going to make the playoffs, and I hope they get to host a playoff game. I don't know if they will, but if they do, That's a team, and I was talking with Rick Beach about this. That's a team that I'd be willing to pay for. We've never gotten a Jordan in anything athletics hosting a playoff game, and then them to actually win it too. I would want to do that in a heartbeat. But Coach David Lang's been in the top 10 all season long, and we hope he finishes this season, this week, strong. Number 9, Pacelli. They beat Jordan. They beat Shaw. They've beaten Columbus. They've had a really good season. The reason they're down is because they play in the GIAA. I don't think they're going to beat Calvary. They've already lost to Brookstone, and I don't give them much of a chance to winning the GIAA state championship. And in year 1, Case Rasmus team's got some great big-time wins, and they come in at number 9. So number 9, Pacelli. Number 10, Jordan. Rich, what you think?
Well, yeah, Pacelli, they've played a lot of great teams, including getting wins over Stratford. They got wins over Shaw and Jordan. They're just 1-5 in the district, 9-11 overall, led by their leading home run leader, Connor Zitrauer.
Look at that.
Also have Cam Carino, who's really been stealing on the base paths. Jacob Vilas. They've got just a very talented team. Lost a lot of senior leadership from last year's team. But Pacelli, which plays Chatco on Monday, and then next week they get ready for that showdown with Calvary. So they are not going to have region games this week, like for the second week in a row. So they're going to play Calvary next week, and then they get ready for Strong Rock. They will close out the regular season with Strong Rock Christian. Hopefully they can get some wins and sneak into the GIAA playoffs. As far as Jordan, they will host Carver on senior night on Tuesday, and then they will face Shaw. So they could finish the season strong and make the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row. How about Coach Lane's Jordan?
Hey,
Red
listen, listen, Rich, and I know you want to say this, man. Sorry to interrupt, but I forgot Jordan beat Shaw. But the problem is Shaw's in second place. They're 10-2. Yeah. But let me say this. If Jordan beats Shaw, that it's at Shaw and Carver, they will finish in second place because they'll have the 2 wins over Shaw. Right now, they're 9-3 in the region. Shaw is 10-2, and that's what our number 8 team. Richard, and let's go ahead and talk about it. Do you think Jordan has a chance? I do think they'll take care of business against Carver. That'll put them 15-7, 10-3. Do they take care of business against Shaw? They beat them earlier in the year, 7-6. It was an incredible game. Do they take down Shaw at Shaw? That's a battle for second place. Richard, that could be a battle for hosting a playoff game. So what do you think is going to happen with Shaw and Jordan? And then to talk about Shaw, who you've seen a lot this year, who comes in 10-2 in the region, and they are also on the year 15-13.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Shaw this year. They have a very talented team led by Kingsley Long and Kingston Long. Kingsley Long's got 4 home runs on the season. Kingston Long's leading the team in batting average. Top of the order, Sincere Ford. I mean, he's just the table setter. They got great pitching and Otis Stevens. I think if Shaw is healthy, because they've had some players out of the lineup, and they are playing at home, I think that there's so much on the line in this game. This could be for a home playoff game, and the winner of this game is going to host in the playoffs in the first round. And Shaw's done that the last 2 seasons. Jordan's been on the road the last 2 seasons. How big would this be if Jordan can host a playoff game in the 2A state playoffs? I think that Jordan is going to give everything they got. I'm hoping that they end up pitching. The thing about Jordan is they got really good pitching. It doesn't matter who their pitchers are. They got some. I was looking at their stats. They've got some pitchers that have very low earned run averages. I'm actually looking through Bradley Smith, who ended up throwing that 2-1 gem over Hardaway. And then they also got the freshman, Brody Caitlin. So they do have, and Cole Williams too, the senior. So either one of those guys, I think that they could throw against Shaw, and I give Jordan a chance.
Right now, if you look at the power ratings on Max Preps, and I don't know how much they go into effect, Richard, in the overall power ratings at the end of the year, but they have Columbus at number 16, so Columbus would be hosting a first-round playoff. But Jordan and Shaw, 21-25. If that's the case, going off of the 32 teams that make the playoffs, Richard, they would not be hosting. They would actually be on the road. So we were mistaken on that. So we'll see if they do it the way they've done it in years past, where they take 1 through 4. But here's the thing. They're not doing that. They're doing the power ratings, and that's why Spencer has a chance. I don't think they will. But according to Max Preps, Columbus 16, Shaw 21, Jordan 25, and then I think Hardaway's just outside the top 25. So we'll see. And speaking of Columbus, they come in at number 7. Big week for them last week. They beat Jordan 4-3, and they beat Shaw 9-7. So they're 11-1 in the region right now, Richard. And if they get a win, which they should, they wrap up against Spencer and Sumter County. They're going to go to 16-14 on the year and 13-1 in the region, and hopefully getting a first-round playoff match. Columbus High, they got the talent. They played a really tough schedule too, Richard.
Yes, they did.
And I understand this is why they're because they lost a lot of games, and they're getting penalized for that. I don't think they should. Here are their losses. Harris County, we know how good they are. Auburn, we know how good Auburn is. Brookstone, come on. That's a top 25 team in the state. St. Anne Pacelli, Central, Shaw off of a forfeit. Russell County, and then Glenwood and Smith Station, followed by Brookstone, Troup County, Glenwood, and then LaGrange. Richard, none of those teams are bad teams. All of them are going to make the playoffs this year.
Yes,
they don't have a bad loss. They just don't have a great win either. I would say their best win is that one that honestly
to Northside.
Yeah, the 2-1 to Northside, and then beating Harris County 6-4. Those two are big-time wins, but they were at home, and they were earlier in the year. But now the way Harris County and Northside are finishing up, it's pretty good, Rich. What do you think?
Well, I think Coach Mathis is going to have Columbus ready. They're going to host a playoff game because of their ranking, and I think that the GHSA should take into consideration the schedule they have played. Even though they have a 14-14 record and they're going to finish the season 16-14, you've got to factor in the schedule that Columbus has played. And it starts with their ace, Michael Nodelman. You put him out there, he can go up against any pitcher in this area. And that's the type of pitcher. I think they start Michael Nodelman and RJ Griffin. Those are your 1-2 pitchers going into the playoffs. And Michael Nodelman is leading the team with 4 home runs. You got Smoke Blackman at the top of the lineup, Axel Serra, Caden Bryans. This team is loaded, and even though they've lost players over the years, it's Columbus baseball. We know the history of Columbus baseball and them winning state championships. I don't think that goes away just because, the talent has gotten a little bit better around, the area, and then they went down to 2A. I still think Columbus should actually be one of the top teams in 2A, and the rankings really haven't favored Columbus all year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and this is where the disrespect comes in from Columbus. Richard, if you don't mind checking your phone real quick, because there's a graphic I want you to throw up in just a moment later on in the show. But coming in at number 6 is Calvary. By the way, Tony Dimitri is actually tuning in right now, and he commented, "Go Red Jackets," as a guy that used to coach Jordan. They're in our top 10, and listen, I'm hoping they get to host a playoff game or we get them in the playoffs, because what Coach Lang has done there has been incredible. We're going to talk about Coach Dimitri's Harris County in just a second, so Coach, keep tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Number 6, Calvary. 0-4 week on the road. They were playing, Richard, top teams nationally, okay? So Coach Smith wanted to win, but he said there was a good learning experience, and he thinks because of the tough schedule and being really battle-tested early on, it could make for him to have a deep playoff run in the GIAA. Right now, they're ranked number 6 in the GIAA. They're also ranked number 6 in ours. They got a big win against Russell County last week. They go to 11-10. Here's how they finish up the season, Richard. They got Brookstone and they got Pacelli, and then they wrap up with Heritage. But the main two are Brookstone and Pacelli. They got a 3-game series against Brookstone this week, basically for the region, and then next week they got Pacelli. If they can finish out strong and win both of those series, Richard, you're talking about Calvary maybe even getting a first-round bye. But I like where Calvary's at right now. I like how the pitching's coming on strong. They look dominant against Russell County last week on Saturday. Mike Peacock on the call. They come in at number 6. Number 5 is Northside. Last week, they had a chance to be the number 1 team in the region. Problem is they played against a team right now that I think is playing better than anybody on this list, and that's Harris County, and they lost 2 or 3. But I will say, Richard, every one of those games came down to the wire, had some big-time moments. Thoroughly enjoyed watching. It was a 6-5 game in county. It was a 5-3 game in which Harris County put 5 runs, a 5-2 game, and they put 5 runs on the board there in that later inning in the 6th. Brody Johnson came up with a huge hit. But Northside still going to make the playoffs. They need to have a big week against Central of Carroll. If they can, Richard, there's potentially, if Harris County either loses 2 or 3 or takes 2 or 3 from Stars Mill, with Northside beating 2 or 3 from Stars Mill, they potentially can move up to the number 2 seed. So really, all 4 teams are still alive to win the region, depending on how it's going to play out. That's how tough that region's been. Number 5, Northside. Number 6, Calvary. What do you got to say about them, Rich?
Yeah, it's truly incredible. Northside is in a perfect position if they're able to get victories against Central of Carroll. They own the tiebreaker with Stars Mill. They took 2 out of 3. Central of Carroll is 11-4 because they got swept by Stars Mill. You're probably wondering, well, man, they took 2 out of 3 against Harris County. Like, why?
Yeah, but Northside took 2 out of 3 against Stars Mill, and then guess what?
It's up for grabs.
Northside lost 2 out of 3 for Harris County. It's just been, I'm telling you, it's like a coin flip with these teams, Rich.
Oh, yeah. I do think Northside in very good position to try to steal some games against Central of Carroll. And then Calvary, they got that massive showdown next week against Brookstone. If they could just get one, I think that they would be happy. No, it's hard to beat Brookstone. Brookstone went into Perry and swept Westfield School. They're 5-0 in the region. Brookstone is one of the top teams in the GIAA. But I do think that Calvary could maybe, they get to play them at home twice. So I think that's going to benefit Calvary. And then they get ready to face Pacelli. But yeah, they've already faced Strong Rock and Westfield School and took 2 out of 3 on the road. So now the rest of their region games are in Columbus. I could see Calvary matching up with the pitching with Brookstone and maybe winning the series against Pacelli. They'll be in good position to possibly host a playoff game in the GIAA because I think they're currently ranked 6th. I mean, which
would put them in there as hosting. Top 4 teams get buys.
That's right.
So you're right.
They would be hosting, but you have like Tatnall, First Presbyterian Day, Tallulah Falls, Athens Christian. The newcomers in the GIAA are like in the top of the baseball ratings too. So
number 4 is Harris County. Let me tell you 3 names. Will Dimitri, Caden Dimitri, and Brody Johnson. They're all freshmen, and they are leading Harris County to right now a 21-6 record, 12-3 on the year. Tony, and the crazy thing is that his middle school team's got even more talent. In the next 5 to 6 years, Harris County Tigers are going to be one of the more dominant programs, if not the most dominant we have in our area. What Tony has done in just 2 years at the helm, I've been blown away, man. And he's won everywhere he's been. He won at Jordan. He won at Russell County. But he knew what was in the cupboard at Harris County, and he is taking off with it. These guys are young, talented, but I want to tell you a name that no one's really talking about, and that's Dejon Elder. He is the shortstop. He's batting over 400 on the season, Richard. And I'm looking at their stats right now. He's actually leading the team in average at 474. He leads the team in hits at 37. He's 13 more than anybody else. He's also got a home run. That guy, no doubt. Oh, and JT Perkle, thank you, Coach. He also just commented. JT Perkle was phenomenal in that game 1 against Northside. But Dejon Elder, I'm telling you, I didn't know much about this young man. I'll be the first to admit it. That guy is a star and a stud. He will be playing at the next level. I'm telling you right now, Dejon Elder, if you don't know who he is the stud shortstop for the Harris County Tigers, and he's only a junior. That guy is electric. Every time he's great on the base path. There is nothing. I don't see many weaknesses in this young man's game. And honestly, I don't see many weaknesses on this lineup for Coach Dimitri's team. And he's full of juniors, sophomores. The only senior, Hudson King's been getting some significant minutes. Also, Joel Rogers, the first baseman, has been getting not minutes, significant innings and playing a lot. I'm confusing the sports, but you get what I'm saying. I'm name dropping a lot right now, but the main thing I wanted to bring up was Dejon Elder, because that guy's all by city. He should be 100%, Richard, being recognized as maybe a region player of the year if Northside or Harris County is able to win. He's been phenomenal. I know you were able to see him on Friday. Yep. That guy's an elite player.
Thrift, I followed the Harris County Little League team in 2022 and 2023. In fact, I tried to live stream the District 8 championship against Northern in 2023. I kind of knew that this was coming, especially with Will Dimitri, Caden Dimitri, JT Perkle, Will Johnson. This team is loaded and they're young. And then there's another name. Be on the lookout next year for a guy by the name of Jacob Gilstrap, because he was the one who hit the walk-off grand slam against Northern in the District 8 championship in 2023. He's on the 8th grade team. This team, Harris County, is going to be great.
Here's the problem. Where is he going to find playing time for all this talent? But I know Togo Dimitri, he'll find somehow, some way. They're going to get playing time. If they're elite, they're going to be playing. That's his philosophy. And honestly, I really am blown away. Remember how slow of a start they had last year, Richard? Came on strong, end up making the playoffs. This year's been a different story. I've been so impressed by them. What Tony's done and Tracy Powell, if you were to ask me this year who would be coaches of the year, I expected Glenwood to be dominant. I knew what they had returning. Central's always a top. Brookstone just won the state championship last year and has a guy that has a 0.51 ERA. I did not expect this from Harris County being as young as they are. I did not expect this from Northside and Tracy Powell in year one. Those two guys would be in my vote for coaches of the year. Now, many people are asking, why is Harris County not a little bit higher? Here's the deal. It really is tough. Like, I can hear your argument, and I almost put Harris County ahead of Brookstone. But way we do our rankings, for those who have never watched it, we do our rankings. Baseball a little bit different than football. Football, because you're not going to get a lot of head-to-heads. You're not going to see Calvary taking on Calvary taking on Central. Okay, you're not going to see a Shaw taking on a private school. So it's hard to match up, when they're not playing head-to-head. In baseball, I don't think it matters if you're a 7A public school or you're a private school. I think in baseball, it's a little bit different, a little bit more fair playing ground. In basketball and football, we can't do it that way. So how we do it is we say, how good of a chance do you have to win a state championship in your league? How is your roster compared to everyone else in your league? And how is your strength of schedule compared to everyone else in your league? And that's how we especially do it in football. Baseball, half these teams face off against each other. So it's hard to ignore that. And that's how we kind of do our rankings. But in the end, as good as Harris County is, I have looked at the rankings in the 4A classification. Now, according to Max Preps, Harris County's number 15. I've seen some polls that have them as high. Actually, they came in at number 15 before last week, beating 2 out of 3 against Northside. So when those update, they'll be in the top 10. Stars Mill comes in at number 9. Blessed Trinity and Wayne County, those are the top 2 in the 4A classification right now. Brookstone's ranked number 2, and in my opinion, the favorite to win the GIAA. Because of that, that's why I give them the edge over Harris County. I think Brookstone, they're the favorite in their league. That's why I'm having them in there. But honestly, if those two teams faced off and you had a one-game scenario, I don't know, man. I think that one's up for grabs. But Shanu Kim, it's either him or Tyler Sykes from Glenwood as the best pitcher in this area. If you've not seen him pitch, you can watch him again this week against Calvary. He'll be the game 1 pitcher on Tuesday against Tommy Irvin. You're talking about a showdown. Woo! Oh, yeah. I'm already getting chills thinking about that one. But Brookstone, Coach Greg Mathis, we had him on last week. Richard, you've called many of their games. They're phenomenal. Mercer Hudson, he's come on really strong his senior year. The pitching has been electric. Brendan Neal, I talked about Dejon Elder. Brendan Neal, another guy as a shortstop who's also a closer who has been just great on the mound, 5-tool player. And if you think Neal, I've heard that before. Yeah, his dad, A.T. Williams Neal, played in the NFL, and was on that undefeated 04 Auburn team. What can you say about Brookstone, Richard?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Thrift, I've called many games, and it starts at the top with their ace, Chanu Kim, who, in my opinion, is one of the most dominant pitchers in this area with a .71 earn run average. His strikeouts, he's an innings eater, and he is the ace. Like, so if Brookstone gets into the playoffs, he's your game one starter. Behind them, they got some pretty good pitchers too. Luke Lowry has done a good job. Luke Vale, Brennan Neal as a closer. He could be a starting pitcher.
He could, but I like him putting him in the bullpen, Richard. I know you do too.
Because he's got 19 innings pitched. He's got a 0.00 earn run average. He's got closer stuff. And then you have your 5-tool player that hits for power at the top of the lineup, Mercer Hudson. You got the sure glove at third base and Charles Briscoe. Will Turner, good second baseman. You got Maxwell Jones in center. Gray Jones and Mercer Hudson kind of go back and forth, splitting the catcher duties. And now Mercer Hudson's moved over to first base. Brennan Neal's patrolling shortstop. I mean, I think 1 through 9, Brookstone is got a complete team. The batting lineup 1 through 9, and then all those other players that are starting to get playing time. You're starting to see these younger players, when they have a big lead in the games, Coach Mathis will bring him on to pinch hit, and they're getting some valuable at-bats. And so the future is bright for Brookstone. Yeah. And I think they're the favorites to go back-to-back in the GIAA.
And again, I'm going to say this one more time. Like I said, when it came to girls basketball, if you're the defending champion and you're having a dominant year, Richard, how are you not ranked number 1?
I don't get it.
It's okay. Because guess what? We get to talk about that on Inside the GIAA. We're coming back with it on GIAA.tv. Your voices, me and Rich. We're going to talk about who's number 1 and all that this Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on GIAA.tv. And we're on the Facebook page, YouTube channel, and GIAA.tv on the internet. Number 2, Central. Now, obviously, this is not a Central year off of, especially last year, Rich, when they were at one point for 3 weeks out of the season, 4 weeks, they were ranked number 1 team in the entire country. Think about that. That's a feat in itself to be able to have that happen. Obviously, this year, not as dominant as last year. They are actually ranked number 5 in the latest rankings I saw in the Alabama Sports Writers poll. They come in 27-7, did not lose a region game, and they finish up. Glenwood finishes up this past week. Central, Smith Station, and the 7A schools finish up this week because only 16 7A schools get to make it, Richard. You should have corrected me on that. 32 teams in 3A. So they had to have an extra week of playoffs. That's why Glenwood's season ended last week and Central's ends this week. They got a 3-game series against Opelika. But, Richard, they are 5-0. They would have to lose all 3 games to not win the region. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to dominate. They have not lost a game since March the 22nd against Benjamin Russell, and they are ranked number 5 in the entire state. Stan Brown leads, or one of the leaders in the area in home runs.
Yes.
Emery Yan, who I always say I think is the best leadoff man aside from Mason McCrane we got in our area. Carter Freeberg and Colin Freeberg have been great as well on the mound. And Cooper Keogh behind the plate. Coach Keogh's team, they'll be in the semifinals. Do I think they're going to win it all? I don't know, Richard. It's going to be tough. I thought last year was their chance, and they lost to Bob Jones, remember, in that state championship classic in Game 3. But Central's been a mainstay at number 2, and great season so far from Coach Kehoe. And then we'll wrap it up with this one, Richard. I'll let you talk about both teams. It's the Glenwood Gators. What a season, regular season for Glenwood. This is who Glenwood's beaten this year, Richard. And it's honestly, I'm trying to think. And listen, I have not been covering baseball in high school sports. I played it, obviously, played at Glenwood, graduated, and played college basketball. I've always kept up with it, but not near as much detail as I am now. And I'm just going off of what I know. I don't remember someone having a season as dominant as Glenwood, and I'm talking about what they've done locally in our area. They have beating Central, ranked number 2 on our list. Northside, ranked number 5 on our list. Smith Station, they've also beaten Opelika. Calvary Christian, ranked number 6. Harris County, ranked number 4. Columbus High, ranked number 7. And they beat Columbus High actually twice. They beat Lee Scott, who would also be ranked on our list if they were part of our coverage area. And they're 24-4 as they ended the year, 8-1 in the region. And they are ranked right now in the entire state of Alabama, number 10. And in 3A, they're behind their old AISA foe, Prattville Christian. If you're going to tell me, if I'm going to tell you Tony Dimitri and Tracy Powell are coach of the year, Richard, you know who my player of the year is Mason McCrane. And I think it's pretty obvious he's the best player in this area. Eventually, there are going to be some other guys that are going to vie for that. I know some young talent that we have in our area, but I don't think anyone has been more dominant. I don't think anyone has been pitched around more than Mason McCrane. That guy is just a 5-tool player that also pitches for the Glenwood Gators. They come in at number 1. I expect Glenwood to host the trophy up this year. And if Coach Fannin does that in year 1 of the AHSAA, what an incredible dream scenario for the Glenwood Gators fan base, for Coach Fanning. So Glenwood comes in at number 1. Brookstone technically should be number 2 because I think they have the second best chance. If you ask me, rank the teams who got the best chance to win it all, Glenwood 1, Brookstone would be 2 because I think they're both right there, number 1 and number 2 in their classifications. But Central beat Brookstone. So I had to give them the nod, and that's why they got their number 2. What do you got to say about Glenwood and Central and the rest of the list, Rich?
Well, I agree with the list. You got 1 and 2 and 3 that can all win a championship. And I still think Central can win a championship. They are undefeated in region play, getting to play Opelika for 3 games, which I think they sweep Opelika. They go 9-0 in the region, and they get an overall number 1 seed. And I think that they got an easy path to the championship. As far as Glenwood, I think that it doesn't matter, home or away. Glenwood, I think that they're on a collision course to meet Prattville Christian in the 3A state championship. I still can't believe that Tatnall is ranked number 1 ahead of Brookstone when Brookstone's the defending GIAA champions. And right behind them is the team they beat in the championship last year, First Presbyterian Day. But, that's why they play the game on the field. And I think that Brookstone is going to be at Synovus Park the last weekend of May, holding up that banner because I think they're going to go back-to-back as GIAA champions. This list is just – it's a really good list. All these teams are going to make the playoffs. And I do think that the teams on the outskirts of this list, like Hardaway, Smith Station, Russell County, they've had fantastic seasons as well. I think, Spencer beating Carver really turned some heads. It made people think, oh, man, Spencer's actually got some talent. They got some talented players. The baseball is great in this area. And that's why it's tough trying to make a top 10, especially with all the talent in this area. And
no doubt.
And let me say this. We're not even including Auburn. We're not including LaGrange. We're not including Troup County. I mean, these are teams that are on the outskirts of the 16 schools that we cover. And those are talented teams as well. Opelika,
Yeah, and we eventually maybe we'll work out there, but I don't know if Opelika would be in our top 10. But, hey, this is our list, and we're sticking to it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go quickly into the soccer where we're going to be this week and talk a little Clingstones, a little bit of Lions, and then I didn't put this on there, but I just made an executive decision. We're going to have an unsolicited hot take solo show. So it will not be Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It will be unsolicited hot take, and we're going to do that tomorrow night. And we're going to talk Masters. We're going to talk NBA playoffs and all. But first, let's take a break now. We'll come back with soccer here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
I'm always on the go. But with the Kinetic Credit Union app, Kinetic is always with me. The Kinetic mobile app is virtual banking at its best. With the Kinetic mobile app, I can easily send and receive money. make a deposit, pay some bills, and I can even open up a new account, all from my phone. And I can monitor all my accounts in one place, all on the go. The Kinetic mobile app, energized banking at its best.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without businesses like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice refreshing sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
I cringe every time I watch that. I don't know how I came up with that. I apologize for all those who have to watch me digest a Sorry, but I will say it's
how many takes did you have to do? Because I think you drank like 15 of those.
Yeah, well, it wasn't terrible, Richard, but they are great. I'll tell you that. All right, let's do these rankings quickly, Richard. Number 10, Russell County. This is girls. Number 9, Calvary. 8, Glenwood. 7, Shaw. 6, Brookstone. 5, Northside. 4, Harris County. 3, Smith Station. 2, Pacelli. And 2, Columbus. And number 1, obviously, Pacelli, who just lost their first time last week. But when talking with Coach Cochran, I think they're winning it all this year. So is it Pacelli, Columbus, Smith Station, Harris County? Who are your favorites to win it all, Rich?
Oh, I think Pacelli can win it all in the GIAA. They were runners-up to Brookstone last year. I think Coach Cochran's got a team that can win it all. They lost to a very good Pinecrest Academy team, one of the top teams in the lower classification of the GIAA. I think Columbus could win the 3A girls soccer championship. They only have one loss. Smith Station is 17-4, but you know how tough 7A is in Alabama. Harris County's having a good season, but Harris County and Northside, they're both in 4A, so they're going to have a tough time. I put Brookstone there at number 6. They're having kind of a down year, but they are the defending GIAA champions. I put Shaw 7 because I saw Shaw beat Jordan 11-1, and I thought I was very impressed with what Shaw did. I want to give a shout out to Jayla Mays, who had 4 goals in that game. I mean, she was dominant. They've got great players like Anaya Harris, Genesis Reyes. Yeah, we had an opportunity to see Shaw Jordan for the girls and for the boys at Terry Gaines Field in Midland, and what a great turnout. Glenwood, I think Coach Miranda has got the Glenwood Lady Gators. They've won some games. I think that they're going to end up competing. And then Calvary. And then how about Russell County making the playoffs? That's why I put them in these rankings, because they are in the playoffs. So, yeah. And let's go ahead and move on to the boys ranking.
Yeah, number 10, Russell County. Number 9, Brookstone, who, that's a perennial team that wins a lot, but they've had a down year this year. Harris County, number 8. 7, Jordan. 6, Pacelli. 5, Calvary. 4, Shaw. Number 3 is Northside. Number 2, Central. And number 1 are the Columbus Blue Devils. Richard, your thoughts on these rankings?
Well, Columbus is the defending 3A champions, and now they're in 2A. I think they'll be the favorites. Central, they're having a pretty good year, but it is 7A. Northside, they're looking at their record, having a fantastic year. I bumped Shaw up because they did defeat Jordan, and that might have been the most epic soccer game I've ever seen at the high school level. I don't really watch that many games in high school soccer, but it went to penalty kicks after being tied after the 100th minute. So that's why Jordan is still up there, because I think Jordan is a very talented soccer team. I think that Pacelli, they're young, but they got some good players. And I actually think that Pacelli is going to compete in the GIAA because, they have a roster led by their coach, Goja. I think Coach Goja has got a vision for what Pacelli wants to do. They are led by their senior leaders, Noah Bowers and Jack Fry. And they also play in the GIAA, and they they get to play Calvary and Brookstone to finish the season. How about that? I think, and plus 3-1 in the district. I think Pacelli's in good shape. Calvary, led by Coach Orr. I mean, we had the assistant coach on the Calvary Coaches Show last week, and we talked about Madrigal, who's one of the best soccer players in this area. I mean, he is just a striker. He's got 18 goals on the season. I mean, think about that. He pretty much will score at will. This kid's special. He needs to be playing on a club team. I think what Coach Orr has got a very special team. They are 7-4 and 2-1 in the region, and they still got to play Strong Rock twice. And then that game against Pacelli, I believe we're having that on Georgia Alabama Sports Line. That's the day where it is super busy. We have got like 6 events. But yeah, they will face Pacelli at home on April the 17th. And then,
great list. Can't wait to see the playoffs, and I know you enjoyed doing it, and looking forward to seeing some more soccer as we wrap up the season. All right, we're going to finish up the show, Richard, with a quick break and then talk about where we're going to be this week. Little Clingstones and my reaction from covering Auburn from 8A. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show. We've had a lot of fun here tonight. So much fun that the show is going over a little bit more than I wanted to, and I don't want to feel rushed when talking about Masters reaction, which I got a lot that we're going to get into. And then I want to talk also NBA playoffs. It's already late, and we could go another hour. And unfortunately, I got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I don't think we're going to go do that, Richard, because what we're going to do instead, we're going to have a special edition of Unsolicited Hot Take dropping on Georgia Alabama Sports Live tomorrow. So let's go ahead and throw up where we're going to be at, Richard. So on Monday, tomorrow, we got Lochapoka at Glenwood softball at 5 p.m., and we got Brookstone Harris County. So Lochapoka Glenwood softball will be on Gas Live broadcast page at 5, and then Brookstone Harris County will be that night, Big Rich. So looking forward to doing that. And I also, we will have the Unsolicited Hot Take that'll probably either drop, I would say probably about 7 o'clock, because at 8 o'clock, we will be having a special edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show live from Girls Inc. And we're going to be doing this interview with a potential WNBA prospect. And we also hope to have on Olivia Cochran, who will be on the Sports Vision's morning show, Rich, tomorrow. So we're looking forward to talking to Olivia. But we will talk to Olivia and another young lady who is out of Tallahassee in Florida. So we will be talking with, I've said a couple of times, Michael Woods and Girls Inc. We may not be live from there, but we will send a link because we will be going to the FCA banquet on Monday. So me, you, and DJ will be live from that. So a lot happening tomorrow. I know, Richard, you're also going to go to the VIP thing held for the Columbus United FC. So we're going to try to make it all happen. We're going to try to be at the watch party. We're going to at least interview someone from there. We're going to at least try to get Olivia Cochran on as well and get her reaction immediately after. But if we're not able to do that, we will have something with them on Tuesday or Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that, Richard. We're going to try to make that happen. But for everyone else, unsolicited at 7 p.m. And then Lochapoka Glenwood on Gas Live, Brookstone, Harris County Soccer. It's senior night for Harris County on the YouTube. On Tuesday, we got Brookstone Calvary baseball, huge region game. Sarris Mill, Harris County, huge region game. And CVCC baseball that was supposed to be on there. And then we also got, which I should have taken off, we are not doing Glenwood, but we got CVCC baseball on there, Richard. So we got baseball for CV doubleheader, and that would be it because on Tuesday is the home opener of
the Columbus Clingstones.
The Columbus Clingstones. So I will be live from that. Richard, I know you plan on joining me later on that night at some point.
Thrift.
Yes.
Thrift, you know I'm going to be there. I've been waiting for this ever since I've moved to Columbus. Huge minor league baseball fan. I worked for the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks, a AA team in 2006. I know everything there is to know about minor league baseball, all different levels. I would go to Arkansas Travelers games when I was going to school in Little Rock. You know I'm going to be there. I know I'm calling CVCC baseball, but that should end before that first pitch at Synovus Park.
Well, I plan on doing a live hit before the game gets started, especially with DJ. And you can find it on Sports Visions and Georgia Alabama Sports Live. But the main thing is Brookstone Calvary, Stars Mill, Harris County, and CVCC baseball all happening Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got Inside the GIAA. We'll have a Georgia Alabama Sports Live show pre-recorded, and then we'll have Chatco Pacelli baseball. We may have Carrollton Northside Soccer. That is kind of up in the air. We're trying to work out some things where we can make that happen. But if not, we apologize again to Northside if we're not able to be there. We're going to try to be if we can. Thursday, we got Calvary at Brookstone. I'll be there for that. That's game 2. FPD at Pacelli. FPD comes in number 3 ranked team. Number 1 is Tatnall Square. Stars Mill at Harris County, game 2. Excuse me, that's game 3 on Thursday. I apologize. That will be game 3 because game 2 is on Wednesday on the road. And then we got soccer, Pacelli, Calvary. So 4 things on Thursday. Friday, we got Glenwood playoff baseball on the NFHS. We will be producing at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, doubleheader. Soccer, baseball, we got Brookstone Calvary game 3, and then we got Columbus Lions coming up as well. So can't wait for the Columbus Lions and them getting back on the right track. Richard, they need to get a big win. Okay, Clingstones lost today, but they overall had a great week last week and won the series. So they'll be coming in. It's going to be the hottest thing going on Tuesday. But for the Lions, they come in, remember, 2-1. They haven't played in over a month. They played Beaumont, who was actually playing Omaha tonight. I don't know if they won that game. I will pull that up here in just a moment, Richard. And then on Saturday, we got CVCC baseball, softball, and Fountain City Soccer. So another busy week on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Yeah, it's a great week of sports. It's one of the biggest sports weeks in the history of Columbus.
By the way, Beaumont took down Omaha. Beaumont is the only undefeated team left. Omaha was, and both of them were the only 2 undefeateds left. So Columbus Lions will probably be taking on the number 1 team in the league. This is going to be a massive game on Friday. So can't wait for that, Richard.
They're 2-0. They got to get that win. Columbus is 2-1. Beaumont's 2-0. Winner of this game will be in sole possession in first place in the American Division.
Yep. So this is where we're going to be. I hope everybody sees it. You can follow us on Facebook, Richard, and you can see this also on Instagram. So another busy week. I know, Richard, you're going to be heading out of town, so you won't be there Thursday, Friday. Well, potentially. We may see Richard appearance maybe for a playoff game. That'll be kind of up in the air. And then guess what? Next week, we start playoffs for Harris County, all the Muskogee County schools in baseball. We put a bow on the regular season for in the region for teams like Brookstone, Pacelli, and Calvary. So can't wait for that. And then soccer, we got a senior night, Brookstone at Pacelli on Tuesday. CVCC baseball and softball in May the 3rd. So we got 3 weeks left, Rich, of regular season stuff. We'll have a few playoff games here or there, but pretty much high school sports is almost coming to an end. How about that, man?
Hard to believe. I mean, we started this thing, in the fall, and another school year is getting wrapped up, and year 2 almost in the books for Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Man, it's been an incredible season, and we can't wait when May comes around. One of our final shows, Richard, is kind of tallying all the views and stuff. I know that's something that I really want to work on this week with you, is how many views have we accumulated? How many broadcasts did we do this year? I want everyone to know what we were able to accomplish because of their support, the community support, the businesses that support us, because without them, we're not able to make this possible. And obviously, the team that we have. Did want to end the show by saying congratulations to Brandon Schwabel and Abby Schwabel having their little baby boy, Atticus, and can't wait to meet little Atticus in the near future, and hopefully we'll be getting Brandon back in no time as well.
Alabama Sports Live onesie?
Yeah, we're going to get him something. He's going to be wearing Georgia Alabama something somehow. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you tomorrow. Lochapoka Glenwood. We got Brooks on Harris County Soccer, Lochapoka Glenwood Softball, and Unsolicited Hot Take. It's Thrift, it's Rich. Good night, everyone. We'll see you in the morning on the Sports Vision Morning Show.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.